What a rush! What a rush! We are back. We're back
For the 2017
2017. 3 and out. It's Marco. It's Eric.
We're here.
We're here.
Ready to rock.
Ready to rock. We got our low-tech tendencies still intact.
Yeah.
Cell phone is looking at us, but right over out of the shot is a brand new Canon that I saved my life savings credit card points for, so maybe that could be fruitful. We hope to transition to a podcast form in the coming weeks, but we wanted to get you this episode ASAP. Make sure that we could let you know how our drafts went. I had 4 drafts in the last 3 days. Eric had
2.
2
In the last 2 days, yeah.
in the last 2 days. So we've seen a lot. We've seen the landscape. We know what works. We know what doesn't work. First of all, I want to apologize for last year. I think we started off so strong, and then as my job got terrible, we kind of fizzled out at, I want to say, week 12 or 13.
Yeah, I feel like we fizzled out.
Yeah. And so we did not finish the season, but I'm with a new company now. Slogan is do what you love. We're doing what we love.
We're back with a renewed commitment.
Yes.
Renewed motivation.
Yes.
Renewed mojo.
Yeah.
We got our passion. We're ready to rock.
I'm not gonna have a busy
next
season. I'll be here for you, for me. So without any further ado, first couple episodes are very simple. We're gonna break down the leagues that we know, the leagues that we love, to tell you who sucked and who hit the nail on the head. First draft that you participated in was the Mansion. That was my second.
Yes. 12 team.
12 team.
Half-point PPR.
Give them. What does it look like? What's that thing like?
Format's going to be a one quarterback, 3 receivers, 2 running back, 2 flex, 1 tight end, 4 bench spots, and of course the team defense, and we have an IR spot.
We have a new IR spot this year.
Brand shiny new IR spot, which is great.
Ironically, was for Ben Schnuckler, who later quit the league.
He quit. He quit.
So really, it was for no point. I think my favorite part about this show is that we have evidence of where we got it right, where we didn't get it right. I've learned so many lessons, hopefully, from last year on guys I was hot on, guys I wasn't, and the reasons why I wasn't.
Okay.
So we'll dive into the draft. We'll see if I've learned any lessons or if I'm up to the same old habits that I normally am. But just honestly, to be able to judge a player, whether he's safe, whether he's got upside, I think we can get more accurate on this year. I'm excited. I'm really excited for 2017.
It's not easy. And I wouldn't say either of us are very good at it yet.
No.
But hopefully we can make it entertaining along the way and have some fun. That's what it's
And
about.
I've done my job. I probably listen more to the outside world than you do. I've listened to Matthew Berry. I've listened to Brad Evans' podcast. I've listened to
Brad Evans has a
I've
podcast
listened to the
that
Fantasy Ballers. I've listened to Michael Salfino and Scott Pianowski. So I know what the market's saying.
You're in touch. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I think that you and I can aggregate it into something that makes sense.
Okay.
With that said, let's just jump right into the first round. Mansion League, you're on the clock. Any surprises in the first round?
For me, looking at it right now, not so much. I mean, maybe
Call it out. What happened? What happened?
I mean, of course, you got your David Johnson, Lev Bell going 1-2. That's expected.
Shocker
and then
special
you get
right
your
there.
3 receivers off the board next. Antonio Brown, Julio Jones goes at 4. Odell Beckham does not slip. He stays at the 5 spot. Really, the only maybe question you can call for is at 6. You went Melvin Gordon.
I did.
Over McCoy, Evans, Green, the rest of the receivers. But I don't mind it. I mean, Gordon's in line for a ton of touches. Efficiency, you could argue, is going to get better with Anthony Lynn, an offensive running back guru
Yes.
at the helm now.
Which I'll be honest, no one said that. Again,
No,
I've listened
nobody
to 4 or
talks about
5
Anthony
podcasts.
Lynn.
Nobody
talks
said a
about
word
Anthony
about
Lynn.
him.
Everybody's talking Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay as the big offensive minds moving. But Anthony Lynn was the guy behind the Buffalo running game last year, past 2 years, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And he's coming to LA. You gotta love the supporting cast. Rivers is a great receiver. They've got a ton of receiving threats. Gordon shouldn't face a ton of stacked boxes, and he's got absolutely nobody behind him.
Literally no one
touches.
behind him.
Brandon Oliver is number 2 on the depth chart, who poses absolutely zero threat to any workload. So I think they give Gordon as much as he can handle this year. He's going to get the red zone love as he got last year.
Passing down work.
Passing down work, they love to throw to him. I think he's perfectly fine right there in the middle.
I'm not going to bore the crowd with why I went over with McCoy. It's quite simple. He's 29, and he's had an injury history, as has Melvin, to be honest.
Yeah.
But for me, once I saw that stat, injurypredictor.com puts McCoy at 5.8 games estimated to miss. He's getting older. The Rams are kind of mailing it in. The Bills are mailing it in.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
all the
scared me.
circumstantial factors surrounding McCoy are trending down.
Right.
And as I've learned over the years, that stuff really matters in preseason. At the beginning of the preseason, McCoy's looking hot. There's people arguing, okay, I might even take him number 4 over Julio, over Odell, maybe even over Antonio Brown, whatever, because he would lead the team in receptions, blah, blah, blah. But all these circumstantial stuff, they trade Watkins away. Tyrod Taylor's not playing well at all in preseason.
Concussion.
They lose the offensive coordinator.
Backup quarterback's terrible.
They're dumping Darby on the other side of the ball. I mean, it just looks like Bills are almost following suit with the Jets, trying to bury the team here.
Yes.
And
we are better.
Everything surrounding McCoy is trending down. Not that I hate him. He's still a great talent. He's going to get the volume, of course, but I'm fine with going Gordon over him.
I think the signs were there. I may come to regret that, but so long as Melvin plays 16 games, sans injury, I'm not going to lose the draft there. So that's really what it went. And before we kind of go into the second half of the round, something that you and I had thought a lot about was, what is your strategy? I have heard everything.
All right, so this year, after doing my bazillion mocks, and getting an idea of who falls where, what positions fall, I really felt after round 3, the running back drop-off is massive.
From here to here this year.
And I really felt like coming out of the first 3 rounds, I wanted to get 2 running backs, whether it was my first 2 picks, second 2 picks, go 1 and 3. I wanted to exit round 3 with 2 backs.
Right.
Guys who I know I'm going to get an elite guy, maybe round 1, or at least 2 high floor guys in rounds 2 and 3, with a Crowell, with a Gurley, with a Dalvin Cook.
Right.
But I needed a Carlos Hyde. But I needed two running backs out of those first 3 rounds to feel good about my team, because I felt like the depth in rounds 4, 5, 6, 7, even 8, 9 with the receivers is so much more prevalent than the depth at running back. There's just it's trash. We'll as we go on, we'll see the running backs that landed 4, 5, 6, 7 in the middle rounds, and I think there's a significant drop off. Whereas a receiver, it's kind of more of a mishmash of guys can be a 1, be a 2, be a 3. There's a lot of that.
There's a huge blob of wide receivers this year who you say you're comfortable as a 3 but has upside for a 1.
Yeah.
And I went into this year, all my mocks, the first 10 or so were 3 wide receivers right off the bat. Oh, that's a hot play. I want to have a wide receiver 1.
And then you're looking at, for your first running back, who are you looking at? You're looking at...
Now you got to take a risk on
C.J. Anderson, Bilal Powell.
Or what does Rob Kelly do for you?
Yeah. It's bad. It's looking bad.
So I think we both kind of realized pretty quickly that was not the way to go. And I really don't think we're going to regret these words. I know we made some bad calls last year. I'll own up to that as we go through. I had no problem with that.
And
But
we'll
this
make
year,
some bad ones this year too.
this
is
strategy makes me feel so much safer.
No, it feels good. It feels good.
So, with that said, McCoy goes 7, Evans goes 8, Green goes 9, Jordy goes 10 to you. I'll give you, 20, 25 seconds. Tell us why Jordy over Michael Thomas.
Track record. He plays with Aaron Rodgers. He's the #1 target. I mean, the guy's gotten double-digit touchdowns every single season, pretty much, that he's been healthy.
Right.
You're looking at 140, 150 targets. I'm not afraid of, 32 now? Don't worry about that. Tied to the best passing offense in the league. He gets that red zone love.
Yeah.
High floor. Thomas I would have been happy with too. I just think Jordy gives you maybe slightly more touchdown upside there, even yardage upside. But
no issue with that.
Either way, I would have been happy with either of the guys.
Okay. So 11 is Imtaz. He goes Michael Thomas, and he actually goes back-to-back receivers at 11 and 14, which means Garrett goes Devontae at 12, which is a sharp drop. Honestly, I was considering at 6.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes Devontae and Jay Ajayi, who I could go on for hours about. He's on my love list. I don't want to get into it, but for me, he's on my love list. How do you feel about him?
Ajayi is all about the health of his offensive line. The stats last year backed it up when specifically Mike Pouncey, Pro Bowl center, when he's healthy and on the field, Ajayi is averaging over 5 yards a carry. He's averaging 100 yards a game.
Yep.
He's fantastic. He is an elite running back when that line is healthy.
Yep. Pouncey's
healthy right now, so you gotta love Ajayi.
Yeah, and not even asking him to catch the ball, but we know the pedigree that Cutler has had with Matt Forte. He has peppered his running back with targets as well as his #1 receiver, which we'll get to later. But I love that start. So he goes Devontae J, which means Imtaz gets Michael Thomas and Cooks. So he's got a pair of former and current Saints receivers. Any issue with the Cooks right there over the next slew of receivers, which was the big 3 in the second round: Doug Baldwin, Amari Cooper, and Desmond Bryant.
I mean, in a vacuum, I might rank Baldwin and Cooper over Cooks.
Okay.
Maybe even Dez. But in his situation, grabbing Michael Thomas in the first, guy who I think is very safe this year.
Yep.
Going to provide you with, I think, 90 catches, maybe 1,200 yards.
Yep.
And has as good of a shot at double-digit touchdowns as almost anybody. I think he provides a high floor, so it allows you to take Cooks as your #2. I think this year you want Cooks as a #2, not your #1. I think he makes a great #2.
Yep, for sure.
Because I think the volatility he's experienced over his career will still exist in New England even after they lose Edelman. I don't think he gets that many more targets as a result of that injury.
Yeah.
But he's going to have those boom weeks. He's going to have a few down weeks, as Patriots position players tend to do.
Right.
But the booms are going to be well worth it, I think. So I like
no
that.
issues.
I like that pair.
Yeah, the upside right there I'm fine with. The volatility you mentioned, and his ADP really flew, quote unquote, 4 or 5 spots from middle second to solid right in the beginning of the second because of the Edelman injury. And it's still, I don't know. I've heard a bunch of theories. Chris Hogan could be the beneficiary. Danny Amendola could be.
It's Bill Belichick. I don't even know how much time we should spend on discussing it because it's just.
It really is not
Bill
worth
Belichick.
it. I can't.
It could be James White. It could be Amendola. It could be Hogan. It could be Gronk. It could be anybody any given week getting more looks. It's going to be game plan specific.
Yep.
It's not like he's okay. Edelman's out, so we're just going to put this guy into his spot. That's not how he rolls.
I think. So the lasting point is nice job by Imtaz to land him as his #2, which can win him weeks, and he doesn't need to rely on him as a volume workhorse. So fine. Okay, so you go with another guy above the age of 28.
Yeah.
And DeMarco Murray, who is now 29.
Old boys.
Do you think DeMarco Murray does another year of holding off Derrick Henry?
As long as he's healthy,
was a hot pick.
As long as Murray is healthy, he's the #1. No doubt about it. They've stated this over and over again.
Sure.
They proved it last year.
Right.
Murray's a workhorse. He's always been a workhorse.
Yep.
That's just the type of dude he is. You know, you roll with him, picking him up here, hoping that he stays healthy all year. But I mean, you're hoping your running backs, no matter who it is, stays healthy all year. Anybody
That's
getting
fine.
that level of work has an injury risk associated. I get that he's 29 or whatever, but
Yep.
it's not like he's Frank Gore 34.
So you committed to the running back heavy strategy here. You weren't gonna let an elite running back go past you. And quite frankly,
for me, after
that's a
Murray,
cutoff for me. Because
Howard,
I don't think
yeah,
Howard is in his class, which is why we saw Howard fall to the mid-second round.
I agree.
So, Murray goes to you. Baldwin goes to Patrick Neal-Jones, who takes him over Cooper, which I'm fine with because it's just bettable floor.
Yeah.
Cooper does go to Pat Meade, who we talked about him in depth last year because of how much stock I had in him.
But both those guys, they get Baldwin as a 2 and
Right.
Cooper as a 2, and that's just lovely.
But in my heart, I do feel that Cooper's touchdowns go up this year. Not necessarily from even red zone looks, but I think he catches more the 35-yard touchdowns,
Yeah, I'm with
the
it.
48-yard touchdowns. I can see
Cooper.
him getting
He's
8 touchdowns
dominated
this year.
at every level.
Yeah.
He was dominant
He's
in college.
23 years
He
old.
scored a ton of touchdowns at Alabama.
Like, he has one of the most prolific 2 first years of his career of all time. I mean,
he's very good.
plus 1,000 yards, so
He's
no
very
issues
good.
there.
Very
So
good.
Jordan Howard finally goes after a quote-unquote precipitous fall into the mid-second round. Any issues there? Do you have any fear for Jordan Howard? I know I do. And was kind of off my draft list unless he fell outrageously.
I do because again he's on a horrible team, horrible offense. It's looking like a horrible offense. But then again, is the offense really that much worse than last year? I don't think so.
That's a fair point.
His 3 interior linemen, I forget the names off the top of my head, but they're all plus guys.
Yeah.
And he fits their system. They're going to go to him. I'm not worried about him losing third down work to the young buck. What's his name?
Tariq Cohen.
Not worried
Who
about
flashed,
that.
who only got a couple snaps in the third preseason game, which is typically
Not
their,
too worried. I think Howard will
their
get
dress
his
rehearsal.
work. Touchdown upside might lack, but the touches will be there.
Okay.
And that'll provide you with a nice
So
score.
no issue there, which means that he starts with a McCoy Jordan Howard star, which you could do worse from the 7th spot.
Yeah.
So I was shocked. I had the next pick. I could not believe that the big 4, again in the second round of Cooks, Baldwin, Cooper, go like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm left with Desmond Baldwin, Des Bryant. Picks after that were just, the rookie running backs, and the next receiver is Terrell Pryor. So, to me, this is a huge cliff after that. I got to land a number 1.
Yeah.
I could see this pick busting. You and I talked about this all summer. He has a horrible, horrible schedule.
Really tough to begin the year. He gets matched up against Patrick Peterson.
Yeah.
Jenkins from the Giants. He's going to get Norman. He's going to get the Denver cornerbacks early this year.
Yep.
Keep to lead. And then even in Philly now, the third team, who we thought was going to be an easy matchup, now they bring in Darby from the Bills, who will provide a tougher matchup. And Dez, as we've talked about, is one of the most, if not the most sensitive receivers with regards to his cornerback matchup.
Yep.
The only thing that's going to buoy him here for me is his touchdown upside, because obviously he's a double-digit touchdown guy.
Right.
If
he doesn't score 10 touchdowns, this is a
it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt because I don't know if he catches 90 balls to keep.
No,
that,
I'm not asking for that. The one stat I did love, which listeners may already know, last 11 games with Dak Prescott, Des Bryant has 10 touchdowns.
They have a nice connection. I'm not down that. And then also working in Dallas's favor too might just be how the game flow changes, game script changes this year. They led, I think, 56% of the snaps, total snaps last year, which is a very high number.
That's a lot.
This year the schedule is a little tougher. Their defense, specifically their secondary, is nowhere near as good as it was last year, I don't think. Obviously not having Zeke for we don't know how many games yet, but that's going to hurt.
Yep.
So maybe they play from behind a little bit, making them throw a little bit more. pumping up the volume for Dez a little bit. Which, if he's getting, the double-digit targets a game, I think he's solid right there.
Okay.
I don't think you'll get hurt by him.
And I think, again, you go back to who are the receivers after? Well, it's Terrell, it's Keenan Allen, it's Ty Hilton on the board. Excuse me,
It's another tier.
That's a tier. So that's a tier pick for me. It's not my favorite, but I think I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette, mid-second, goes to Spencer Casey, and he paired him with Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
So that's his number one running back. Again, showing you the drop-off.
Fournette's his number one.
Fournette is his number one running back.
I've soured on Fournette as the preseason has gone on.
As have I. That foot.
And I told you about not only that, but just the Jets. We talked about situational circumstances. They're trending down for Fournette as well.
Yeah.
Quarterback play is bad. Bortles has looked awful. The backups aren't any better.
Yep.
He's got two guys behind him that have had playing time in the offense before.
Yep.
Even if I believe they drafted him, bring him in to be the workhorse.
Right.
But
do you even
it's
think?
hard to feel good about that offense.
Do you even think that they would? It's been threatened that Chris Ivory could get going, which would be a huge blow to his value.
I mean, I don't see why they would prefer Ivory.
It doesn't make sense.
draft
They
Fournette.
paid Ivory. They paid him
Yeah, but they also drafted Fournette.
in the first.
Fourth
overall.
I mean,
Yep. Okay. I think it's got some fleas though, and I wouldn't be surprised if you saw
now, but of the rookie running backs now,
yeah,
he's not the first for me.
not for
which
me
is
at
when
all.
He was drafted.
Right.
I'd probably say he was maybe the fourth.
This is the whole conversation that we needed to have on rookie running backs. I think if I were to do that pick right there, for me, you either go Ezekiel Elliott, whose news got even better tonight, which we'll talk about in a second, or you go with Todd Gurley, who, while he was terrible last year, has a much better situation this year.
Yeah.
So
his situational everything's trending up for Gurley.
Correct.
Where stuff's trending down for Fournette, which is why I'll buy the Gurley stock, especially at the back end round too.
Right.
And the guy was a top 5 pick last year.
Yeah.
And you saw his floor pretty much.
Yep.
Everything has improved. Quarterback, receivers, offensive line, offensive coordinator, play calling. It's all trending up for Gurley.
No one behind him.
Nobody
Dunbar
taking
got hurt.
any work at all from him.
And I say that cautiously because I was so up on Jeremy Langford last year. Oh, you got no one behind him. Oh, there's Jordan Howard.
There's Jordan Howard.
So I say that now with caution, but really there's no one behind him this year. Okay, so next pick, another rookie, Christian McCaffrey goes, and he has paired Christian McCaffrey with Julio Jones. Again, Christian McCaffrey as your number one running back. How do you feel?
Too early for me for McCaffrey.
We said this during that you are paying for the ultimate ceiling.
For his top ceiling right there. Stewart is still there. As long as he's healthy, he's going to get the bulk, the majority of the carries. Bulk might be the wrong word, but majority of the carries, I'd say. You're at this spot. You're praying McCaffrey is averaging 5-6 catches a game.
Has to get that. Has to get that.
Because the rookie running backs, let's just talk about it right now. Let's bang it out. I'm going probably Cook and Hunt as my 1A, 1B.
Yep. No disagreement here.
Then probably for me, Fournette, McCaffrey, and then Mixon. But I think Mixon might even offer more upside than McCaffrey. Fournette.
Absolutely. If he gets a hold of that job, it's see you later, sayonara, sign, seal, deliver.
Better offense, better talent for me at least.
Yep.
At least over McCaffrey. Fournette's a great talent too, but that offense might just sink his ass.
I wanted no part of that. 4 drafts, he was not on my board. No chance of me taking him for that price. Okay, so I agree on your rankings there. I like Hunt a little bit better than Cook. That's in the third. We could talk about that for 5 seconds because that's my boy. But Zeke goes in 2.10, which I think at this point is a nice price.
I think it's good.
Maybe you go Gurley there just to get all the games, but apparently this is tonight. This is 8:31 on a Thursday. The lead investigator reports that Zeke should have gotten 0 games. So, how does that translate? Most likely, I'm not saying most likely, let's just call it 50%. He probably gets games reduced, to be quite honest.
Reduced, yeah.
Reduced.
Yeah.
I could see Zeke at this point missing only 3 games, and maybe they're, sparsed out in the middle of the season. So you get him for week 1, you get your hot start that you need, you get your games in, and then he's ready for end of season playoff time, and this could be a huge value. So he pairs him, and this is Dill, and he pairs him with Antonio Brown, and that could potentially be elite.
Sure.
Okay, so Gurley goes at 2.11, no issues there. And finally, Terrell Pryor goes. And I don't say finally, but because this actually feels early. I mean, round 2 in a 12-teamer, where do you rank Terrell Pryor in comparison to the guys that were there? Which was Keenan Allen, T.Y. Hilton, and really Demaryius Thomas, and I guess Alshon Jeffrey who came.
See, for me, this wide receiver group is really tough to rank, and my ranking, it's hard to just go by overall at this point, because for me it really depends on who you get round 1, who you get round 2. For me, I don't know if I'd feel so confident as Pryor as my number 1.
Right.
I think he could easily finish 3rd in that offense in targets.
Agreed.
So for me, I'm looking at my number 1 receiver. I want a guy with a little bit of a higher floor, maybe a T.Y., maybe a Demaryius Thomas.
Right.
But really, it's tough here because you're really all these wide receivers really got question marks. After him, when Keenan Allen was coming back off an injury, even though he's looked fantastic, they say.
Yes.
But I'm okay with that being taken there. Special guest,
Jesus Christ.
Megan, brought ice cream. What flavor? If it's no good, you can get out.
Are we live?
We are live.
We're live right now.
What flavor?
Dulce de leche.
Dolce de leche. Megan brought about 2 bites of a dulce de leche ice cream.
Strawberry.
Beautiful.
And strawberry.
Thanks,
I
Mom.
gotta go.
Thank you very much. There's
Love
a
her.
spoon inside. A
Yes.
spoon inside.
This is a huge coup. And we're only in round 2.
Nice little pick-me-up here. Thanks, Meg. Good to see you. So as we enjoy our
That's
ice
a nice
cream,
surprise.
we continue talking about the this big second tier of receivers here.
I don't know. I get the pick.
Yeah.
I just think, you talk about guys. I'm going to go back to the stat now because I was going to whip this out eventually.
Yeah, what's that?
50% of RB1s bust. 40% of wide receiver ones bust. So, let's do a quick exercise, Eric. You tell me, of the top 12 running backs, you give me 6 that are going to bust.
You want to play this game?
Gotta play this game.
Okay. So who's my list? David Johnson's not going to bust.
Not gonna
Le'Veon
bust.
Bell's not going to bust. Then we get to Melvin
Oh my
Gordon,
God.
LaShawn McCoy, Devonta Freeman, Jay Ajayi, DeMarco Murray. Okay, I'll say Jordan Howard's going to bust. Leonard Fournette is going to bust. McCaffrey is going to be considered a bust. You're saying these guys are going to finish outside the top 12?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what Brad Evans meant by bust, but he had a nice little stat right there.
Lamar Miller's not going to finish top 12.
Was he a top 12 running back?
In our draft, I believe so. Let me
my
see this.
God.
1, 2,
So that's easy.
3, 4. This is great radio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so Gurley was picked at RB12. Sorry.
Okay.
So you're telling me 6 of these guys you want me to tell you who are going to bust?
Yeah, you gotta make the tough call.
Okay, Fournette, McCaffrey, Howard.
Yep. And I'm gonna have to say McCoy and
My
and
easy
Murray.
guy, I was going to lean McCoy. That's like my surprise bust.
Fine. Did you pick 6?
Because there ain't no way he's going to score enough touchdowns to keep him in there, I think.
Right. Okay.
How many did I pick? Was that 4? 6 is absurd.
6 is
You're going to ask me to do that? Jesus.
Well, then pick your boy DeMarco Murray.
To bust?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Okay. So I'll pick him.
I drafted him.
So that's 5.
Okay.
But I think we're on group. You can sense kind of who has the stench of bust potential.
Yeah, sure.
All right. This is a controversial pick. This is one of the rare things that you and I got absolutely 100% right last year, which was Rob Gronkowski off my board, totally injury prone. He goes 3.1 to CJ, who is now put together David Johansen, Terrell Pryor is the number 1, and now Rob Gronkowski is his tight end 1.
I didn't mind Gronk in the third this year. I thought Gronk in the third was a good value. I don't know, 3-1.
That was the talk of the town. Anytime you get him this late, it's value. But how many games does he play?
How many games does anybody play, though? I mean,
okay, so then it's a great value.
I'm not a big,
We can leave it at that.
oh, this guy's gonna get hurt this year. Like, who are you? You're not a doctor. You
Fine.
don't know.
Okay.
Anything can happen to any player at any time.
So we said this last year, why? Because he went middle of the first round.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
3.1. You know
But
what,
when you're
CJ?
getting, like, if you go to Vegas
Yeah.
and try to bet who's going to lead the league in receiving touchdowns,
Yeah.
I guarantee you Gronk is near the top, if not the top guy of that
Fine.
list.
Okay, so give me your fearless forecast.
For Gronko,
Yeah.
16 games.
Well, I didn't say
16
that.
games, 80 catches
Okay.
for 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns.
I like that. Okay.
That could win you a league right there.
It could win you a league. So he's basically got 2 wide receiver 1s right now. If Pryor gives him the 9 touchdowns that he needs.
Yeah.
Fine. Keenan Allen goes to Child Please, who has now paired him with Gurley and Le'Veon, so that's his 1. Do you feel comfortable with Keenan Allen as your wide receiver 1?
I don't feel great about it, but I'm going wide receiver heavy after that.
Right.
Because he has Gurley and Le'Veon Bell.
Right.
So he's got to pick a 1 right here. I don't mind Allen. I mean, I prefer Demaryius Thomas, but I
Okay,
don't mind
that was my
Allen.
next question to you. How do you feel? What would you have done there?
I would prefer Demaryius Thomas.
Over him and T.Y. Hilton.
Yes.
Okay, fine. I'm with you there. Rodgers goes at 3.4 to a guy that's just joined our league, Johnsy.
Jones.
I guess, I don't know. I hate quarterbacks that early.
Rodgers early round.
And
3,
I
no.
think that when we look at his team in totality, he's going to be upset. Dalvin Cook goes at 3.5 to Big Sack Del Rio, who has now paired him with Fournette. Holy crap. So he's got 2 rookie running backs and Odell Beckham. And you like Dalvin Cook, an A above a B over Kareem the Dream Hunt.
I would say slightly. I like Cook. I like what he did better in college.
Sure.
I think everybody rips on the Minnesota line, but like they were all banged up last year. They were terrible last year. They brought in Khalil and Remmers to shore up the tackle positions. They're more healthy in the middle. I think Bradford, another year in the offense, get it under control, and their schedule is pretty light to begin the year too.
Actually, I remember to do that. Their schedule is fantastic.
Very light.
You're right. So even if he only runs for, I don't know, 900 yards, he's got
Cook?
great. Yes, even if.
Okay, yeah.
He could still catch 45, 50 passes
Oh yeah, he's a great
for
pass
400
catcher.
yards.
He's a great
get,
pass catcher.
You know, 1,300 yards, total yards, and I don't know.
Great
6
pass
touchdowns.
catcher, and he like immediately. The big worry with rookie running backs always is like, can they pass protect? Is the coach going to trust them
Right.
to protect him, the quarterback?
Yep.
And I understand that. But Cook came in and immediately was playing third downs, catching balls, picking up blitzes. He did that at Florida State.
That's fine.
And
Okay.
he's doing that now. They trust him in that role. The only real threat to his ceiling is Latavius Murray getting the goal line carries.
Correct.
And that's it.
Which, to me, is what puts me over the top to drafting the Kareem
Yeah.
of the crop in Kareem Hunt. It's guaranteed goal line.
Is it guaranteed goal?
It's guaranteed goal line.
Okay.
I'm not going to guarantee you third down passing work because
Yeah.
I think he'll catch the ball on first and second down, but I don't know, Sarkandrick West should come in third
Because I
down.
think Charkandrick West poses more of a threat to his work than people are like are giving him credit for. Wes has been in that offense. Reed trusts him. He's been good in the preseason. I could see Wes. He's not obviously not the talent that
Yep.
Hunt is,
Yep.
but I could see Wes getting 8 touches a game,
This is the pick where
10 touches a game, maybe.
the feeling I felt about him, that tingly feeling in my loins
Yeah.
about Lamar Miller last year, at the but this is at 3.6, not 0.5.
Yeah,
So I don't know. We talk about volume every year,
yeah,
and volume helps, and volume's great, and
Yeah.
goal line's great.
yeah.
But yes, I recognize that there's a risk because was from Toledo, and he's not a first-round pick. He's a third-round pick. But he's Andy Reid's guy.
Yeah, no, I'm
They
with
traded
you.
up for him.
Whoever the running back is for Andy Reid is
I-
always a producer.
I
I'm
get
with you. I'm
I
with
get,
you.
I get very nervous about this risk, this perceived risk. But this one, I feel like
Which is why I'm saying Fournette and McCaffrey went
Right.
in round 2. I would have rather seen Cook and Hunt go in those 2 spots.
okay, fine. So I got a lot of Kareem Hunt stock this year. 3 of 4 leagues. I was sniped in my work league today. But that's no issue. You.
Aye.
Okay,
went
so you didn't
DT.
get.
No, I didn't go DT.
You didn't get your boys DT. DT goes at 3.7, which is nice. Crowell goes at 3.8, which I think we don't have to talk about. We like. The Browns have a wonderful offensive line, probably the best in the
Maybe
league
the
now.
best in the league now.
You could talk about the Raiders. You could talk about the Cowboys. You could talk about the Eagles, I believe, as having elite lines. But this might actually be the best line this year.
Yeah.
No issue with Crowell there. A lot of room to grow. Lamar Miller goes at 3.9, and quite frankly, how you take Lamar Miller over a Carlos Hyde is
I prefer Carlos Hyde. But again, I can make the same argument for Miller that I make for Gurley, is that last year was his absolute floor.
okay. That he just has to score more touchdowns this year. The guy scored like 5 or 6 touchdowns. I mean, it was absurd.
Yeah, it was bad.
For a guy that got goal line work to score that little touchdowns
Yeah.
is maybe an
It
anomaly.
doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
So Lamar could potentially not kill you. Do you worry about Dante Foreman? Last year he didn't have anyone behind him. This year he has a rookie running back behind him.
Not in the immediate start of the season.
Okay.
If we see Foreman start to, because I don't think Foreman will even open as the straight up backup. It's going to be who's it, Alfred Blue or whoever.
Yeah,
is still
and
there.
Bill O'Brien has said he's got a long way to go.
Yeah.
So fine. Well, I want to bring
It
that
could
up.
be a situation like week 8, 9. Foreman starts to creep up and starts to cut into his work.
Right.
Maybe Miller gets some bullshit injury where he misses a game or 2. Foreman
Yes.
comes in,
I
one
can
of
see
those.
it. I can see it. I can see it. And we're not here. You're right. We can't be here to predict injuries like that. But
No.
he could slip in there. I mean, I think the lesson that I learned, the biggest lesson I learned last year was talent will ultimately take you to the top position, especially at running back. I learned it the hard way with Jeremy Langford. And I know it was an injury thing, but Jordan Howard was going to take over. And that was
Because he's just flat out better.
bad on me
Yeah.
to assume that a guy who's just quite frankly not that good can hold down a position like that. And that's
Right.
why Hunt was moving on my draft board all summer,
Yeah.
because he was just playing better. They were giving
Yeah.
him preseason snaps.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep moving.
Keep
Who we got?
You go Alshon Jeffrey at
Yeah.
3.10, which I love because you could have gone DeAndre Hopkins. The next wide receiver after that was Devontae Adams, who I'm really not a fan of at this price.
Well, this is my second receiver, so I think. No, I don't like Adams at all. I think he screams. He's touchdown regression, and the yardage just isn't there with him to give you wide receiver 2 value if the
Right.
touchdowns aren't going to be there. Jeffrey, to me, could get the same amount of targets as Hopkins in an ascending offense.
Yep.
We talked about situations. For me, the arrows are pointing up for Philly, whereas Houston, it's kind of just stayed the same
Yes.
with regards to last year.
Yep.
Savage, Watson don't excite me,
Right.
either one of them.
Yep.
I know Brock Osweiler was historically awful last year. But I'm not buying Savage and Watson really making that any better for Hopkins. Hopkins I love as a talent, better than Jeffrey.
Yep.
But situation, no.
Okay. I love that. I don't know. I just felt like, and everyone talks about, hamstring injuries and blah, 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 and his shoulders. I don't know.
For
whatever.
Jeffrey?
Alshon Jeffrey. He's got the muscle tissue injuries, but I don't know.
He's also playing for money this year, too. He only
I
signed
see.
a
I
one-year
see
deal.
a huge year, a huge touchdown upside.
Yeah.
Just peppered with targets in that offense.
He's going to get red zone love.
Yeah.
Torrey Smith ain't getting red zone.
Torrey Smith not getting red zone.
Zach Ertz, not a big red
touchdown
zone
allergic.
It's going to be Alshon getting the red zone.
Yeah.
tosses.
Lovely, nice little preseason he put together there. They showed that chemistry.
Yeah.
15-yard strike. You're going to see a lot of those this year. Carlos Hyde goes after that. I love that. I'm not going to go into that. It's Kyle Shanahan.
Good
Devontae
value, very
Adams.
good value.
Right. Devontae Adams goes to Garrett, who takes Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins, who I think we're both a little eh. I could see it. I'm not that excited. But it's always about not who you picked, it's who did you skip out on.
True.
And quite frankly, there is a drop-off after DeAndre Hopkins because the next wide receivers were Golden Tate, Allen Robinson, and
Yeah, but
Martavis
see,
Bryant.
you think it's a big drop-off, but honestly, Golden Tate has caught 90 balls 3 straight seasons, and I can easily see him finishing ahead of Hopkins or Adams. He finished ahead of Hopkins last year.
Okay.
Probably, I don't think he finished ahead of Adams because Adams was buoyed by the, 12 touchdowns he caught?
Right.
But Tate's a safe wide receiver too, man. In a half-point PPR,
yeah.
he's a very safe too.
Well,
and they're
so
moving his ass back to the slot. He's going to be Stafford's first read on most passing plays, I would say.
on an offense that's now a dink and dunk,
Yeah, I mean,
not a
he's
downfield
good. He's
offense. Okay. So you would have actually gone Tate there
And he
instead
could
of...
be better
So
this year, because remember last year when they were trying to force-feed Marvin Jones the ball the first 4 weeks, of this,
Right.
5 weeks, of this, whatever it was, Tate was non-existent.
Right.
He did almost all his work for the final 2/3 of the year.
That's actually really well said. So you might have paired DeAndre with more upside with Tate, who's safer, left Devontae right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or gone Martavis, too. I mean, talk about upside. If you get Martavis as your wide receiver 3,
I'm glad he didn't. Felt to me.
even Tyreek, he could have had Tyreek Hill as his wide receiver 3.
No, we'll talk about him because we might have some dissenting opinions on that.
Yeah.
I do hate how often you and I agree because it makes for bad radio
Yeah.
and bad television, but these are the facts. Unfortunately. Travis Kelce, 4.2.
Too early from me.
Kind of gross.
I feel like Reed is a better tight end. I got him at the back end of the 5th. That's where the tight ends drop off after Reed and Graham. But for me, Kelce, I don't know.
Do you get sold on the fact, though, with no Macklin and a Tyreek Hill who has had a disastrous preseason as a gadget player?
Yeah, Kelce could easily lead the team in targets.
Right.
He could catch 1,000 passes. Or 1,000 passes.
I would love 1,000.
That would be a huge season. But he'd go for 1,000 yards. I don't know, for some reason he's never gotten the red zone love.
That's
not
what's
a
going to
big
be
touchdown guy.
He has to catch 10 touchdowns right here. Maybe not.
I don't know about 10, but like 8 or 9 to justify that.
Give me 8, and I don't know if it's going to happen.
Because you get Olsen at the end of this round,
Right.
who's nearly identical
Right.
to him.
Well,
And then in the next round, you get Graham, who could easily outproduce him. You get Reed, who I think could easily outproduce him.
so it's a value thing.
Yeah, for me,
So what
it's
has
not
he
worth it.
done? It's about what has he done. So now he has done Michael Thomas. He went Brandon Cook, so he's got a wide receiver 1 too. Then he went Carlos Hyde as his RB1, so he decides to go
Yeah.
elite tight end, fill the Travis Kelce need. Let's see how his roster shakes out. I think I agree. He lost about a round of value right there. Might have been better going with a Montgomery as his 2. Might have been better
I was
with
going to say any of these running a
a
Montgomery
Golden Tate as his wide receiver 3, or a Martavis Bryant as his wide
or
receiver
even a
3.
Marshawn. I think whoever good this is, who's the Bearcats got great value on Marshawn Lynch. in the
That's
back end of
Johnsey,
round 4 right
who
here.
has made some bad picks so far.
I think that's good value on Lynch to be honest.
He made up for it because this is the same guy who took Aaron Rodgers, which we hated, and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So maybe Marshawn Lynch saves his draft a little bit
All
here
right.
in round 4.
Maybe.
Okay, so Montgomery goes
What
to
else
you.
got? Yeah.
Ingram goes, no issue there. Tate goes. Allen Robinson
I think it's
goes.
early for Ingram too. I like Ingram this year too, but I think it's early.
And
to
we
be
talked
honest.
about how far he fell last night
With the looming.
in the Hank Fraley League.
Just because, like.
Yeah,
if
it
Peterson
scares the
is-
hell out of me.
Because if Peterson is healthy, he's gonna get work.
Right.
He's gonna get
And he'll
double
probably get
digit
goal line.
carries, and he might get goal line. Ingram is gonna be there to be the pass catching back, and we've seen him do it in back-to-back years on somewhat limited work, still finish high. But man, having Peterson there is a different beast than having Tim Hightower there. You know.
That's beautifully said.
You
Yeah.
know?
And Alvin poses a threat. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but your rookie looks hot. You know, there's
Kamara.
yeah, there's your third down back. So
Yeah.
so what role does Ingram play? Is
No, I think Ingram will still remain the passing down back.
That's
I don't
fine.
think Kamara will cut into
so
it
you?
like that.
I know that you think of him as a top 24 running back.
Ingram,
Yes,
absolutely.
but we're not. But we're looking for better value here. It's round 4.
You're
still.
looking still towards the front end of RB2s, I think. No, or maybe
Yeah.
we're past that point because Gurley. Let's see how many running back. Cook, Hunt, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6. So
Yeah.
he's the. No, he's like mid RB2 right here. Which
Ugh.
I still prefer Lynch. I think Lynch can provide. Might even sneak in as a back end 1.
Well, just if he gets the 12 touchdowns that Latavius had.
Touchdowns, he gets a 9.
Right.
If he repeats what Latavius did last year, he's a back end 1,
He's back
front
end.
end 2.
Right.
Right.
Yep, exactly. So Allen Robinson goes right ahead of me, which makes I'm jumping with cheerleader
That you
Juan.
went Robinson
I don't know what a
instead of
cheerleader
Bryant.
Juan is, but I take Bryant there with.
I
no
think that's a
hesitation.
good spot for A-Rob though, because he's still gonna get.
So you expect the difference between 2 years ago when you and I were sucking on that
When he
that
scored
Allen Robinson
14
thing.
touchdowns?
Yeah, you and I were hot on him. Like, how could we not?
I
He had
mean,
14 touchdowns.
yeah, I know. Do I think he'll find the middle ground?
Yeah.
I don't know. But even last year, where he finished, I think he finished as a back end wide receiver
Oh
2.
my God, did
That's
he?
that's his absolute floor because he still got
Oh.
a decent amount of touchdowns last year.
Did he?
Yeah, Doug Marrone towards the end of the year
Game.
figured out how to use him a little bit more.
Yes, he finished the year stronger than he started. I'll give you that.
So if I can make the
Jesus,
same,
Eric.
all right, he had 6 touchdowns.
Don't make me
last year,
pull up this
excuse me.
game log.
He had 883 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Eric. 800 yards, 6 touchdowns is a
Okay,
disaster.
but he still had 100. He had
I could get
He's
that
at
from
100
Zay Jones this year.
151 targets in back-to-back years.
Jesus H.
Uh,
Right, which is why I'm saying, does the median happen on the same amount of targets?
I think he's got to regress back to the mean a little bit
Okay.
here. I mean,
So you
to
take
ex-
Allen over Martavis.
depends who I have before. I don't mind. No, I'll take Martin. Fuck Allen
Yeah.
Robinson. No.
Get him out of our lives. Like, get him out of our lives. What do we owe this mother effer?
No, yeah. Screwed
He
his
screwed
ass.
us.
He
This was my keeper last year. He screwed me.
He got me good last year too.
So, done with him. Martavis, I'm not even asking for like all the gushy upside that he's getting. I'm just asking for 1,000 yards and like 9 touchdowns, and I'm happy little camper. Tom Brady goes right after that. Marshawn Lynch we talked about. Ugly pick of the round 4. C.J. Anderson.
You think it's that ugly?
I mean,
At this point, who are you choosing between?
I'd rather have Joe Mixon.
I'd rather have Mixon.
I'd probably rather have Dennis Woodhead.
Dan Woodhead.
I'd definitely rather have Bilal Powell, who lasted 2 rounds later.
Now, with the news that Jets are basically cutting Forte, sure.
I mean, I don't know, man. Is this going to be one of those things? Again, everything, now that's on video, it's like, all my faults and all my hatred, so many of my hatred guys
C.J.
just
Anderson, for
busted
some
out.
reason, is one of those guys that is just so
Oh.
easy to hate on him. But I think last year when he played, he was actually pretty freaking good
I can't get behind it.
when he was healthy.
So he has, okay, fearless forecast. He has a boring, 1,000-yard season with
So
7
he only
touchdowns?
played 7 games last year. averaged 62 rushing yards a game. He had 4 touchdowns in 7 games. 5 touchdowns in 7 games.
Really?
The receiving. Yeah. He had 560 total yards in 7 games, which is not great. It's not awful. I mean, he's a productive RB2 while he was healthy.
Fine. I hate him.
They improved the offensive line this year. They drafted a tackle.
I'm taking
signed
Mixon
Leary.
there. I'm taking Mixon there. I'm taking B-Law. The whole point is that you and I nailed this thing. You got to take your running backs early so you don't have to face
now
a
look at, like,
decision.
every running back we're hitting, we're like,
because rather than C.J. Anderson, you could have had a
Crabtree,
top 5
Benjamin,
tight ending Olsen.
Fitz,
Right.
Diggs, Sand. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, to me, these receivers here are like, okay,
This
these
is
are
the
slam
gold
dunk
mine.
twos
Run
right here.
5 is like, I want to jerk off to
I
this.
know.
Like, pardon my French, but like, this is a sexy
Oh, it's
round.
fantastic.
You take C.J. Anderson round 4. I don't know. I hate it. Anyway,
Yeah.
C.J. goes Tyreek Hill, Kevin Benjamin. Place your bet right now. 5 seconds. Tyreek Hill, boom or bust. I'm placing my
Bust.
pile in the bust.
I've told you about this before.
Done for me.
To me,
Done.
loved him last year because he was my boy.
Yeah.
But this year, I think they're asking him to do a little bit too much. I don't think he's that great of a receiver. He's dropped a ton of balls already in preseason.
Yes.
Uh,
This is one of those where I think Brad Evans, he gets so excited like me, and he makes his old man crush team. And then as the preseason trickles on, you just see
realize
the passion
that,
just kind of fading out of there. I'm like, he knows he's gonna regret this.
yeah.
But he didn't blow the turn completely because I love Kelvin Benjamin for 10 touchdown upside.
Yeah.
Round 5, appropriate time to take Devontae Parker.
For me, maybe a round early, but I don't mind it.
Round early because the next pick is Michael Crabtree, which I know you love.
I like some Crabtree, yeah.
And I know that you love Fitz in that round. I know Sanders is helpful in that round.
I love Sanders in this round. I love Diggs in this round.
Right.
I love Watkins at the back end. I like Crowder. I mean, the receivers here, just fantastic. A lot of high floor guys.
Yes.
A lot of
Yes.
safe receivers.
This is a pretty round. I mean, really, I don't think there's one bad pick this round. Maybe, honestly, Danny Woodhead's probably the ugliest one because I could also see him just straight up busting.
Maybe
As a guy doesn't get healthy.
Maybe Jimmy Graham over Jordan Reed.
Yes. Okay. I agree. I agree.
You need to answer for this.
Something happened in my brain, and it was... I always look at a certain point. What did I fill up? This is round 4. So I had my top... I had 2 running backs. I had 2 wide receivers. I said, can I get a tier win on a tight end? And the thought of that, because we go back and forth, tight end's so deep. Tight end's so deep.
Yeah.
Why don't you just wait on a tight end, asshole?
Yeah.
And then we look back historically, and Kobe Fleener was the tight end 10 last year. Now, just because he finished as a top 10 tight end doesn't mean he was anywhere near what a top 5 tight end was. So for me, it's let's get the tier win right there. However, the thought of me actually taking a tight end this early scared the shit out of me. And quite frankly, I forgot that Jordan Reed was there. So you got yourself a little mini win. However, I don't think I'm going to regret this pick at all.
No, I like Graham.
This might be...
Especially if he gets more red zone looks this year. He barely got any red zone.
Yes. If he just normalizes and gets his 9 touchdowns, like...
He'll be good.
I love Russell Wilson this year. Like,
he'll be good. And their schedule is very soft, too. Seattle's schedule.
Love that. Honestly, the only my bust of this round, Stephon Diggs. Moves from the slot to the outside.
I'm slightly worried about him now after that news.
And it's not an ugly pick, I'm just saying. It's like,
No.
if I'm going to pick a couple busts of this round, I'm going to say Danny Woodhead, Stephon Diggs, and
But I also
Sammy
think,
Watkins.
yeah, Watkins has inherent risk, but at the back of round 5, you're paying for a guy who has the talent to be a wide receiver 1.
Sure. That's fine. Okay, Crowder goes at the end of that round. Any special thoughts on him, or can we move on?
No, let's keep it moving.
Drew Brees, Mike Gillislee, 6.2, no issues there. You, I think, might be steal the draft on Bilal Powell, who has back-end RB1 upside.
After the news came out that the Jets are pretty much done with Forte,
They're going to get rid of him.
as shitty as the Jets will be this year,
Yeah.
Powell, as we know, is a 3-down back. He's one of the best receiving backs in the league, probably. He's elusive. He gets yards after contact. He's going to be heavily involved throughout the game, no matter the game script, the game flow. I mean, I don't see any reason why, if they get rid of Forte, they cut him. I don't see why he can't approach 20 touches a game.
Right. And you know the stat, I know the stat, maybe some listeners don't, and I might be butchering this slightly, but I think it's last 5 games, Aaron Rodgers, Le'Veon Bell, Bilal Powell.
Yes.
Top scores.
Yeah, he was bazonkers at
Elite.
the end of the year last year.
Just went outrageous.
Especially when you got Derrick Henry going right behind him.
Right.
I mean, look at, like, the production Powell will get you, because you're
Right.
drafting Henry, and we've talked about this before. For me, I hate Henry here
Yes.
because he's getting drafted ahead of guys that are going to give you immediate production.
Right.
Henry, you got to kind of, like, leave him in your flex and like he'll be okay as
Right.
a flex. He's not going to win you any weeks.
Yeah, he might plunge in for a touchdown occasionally,
Yeah, but like to really fulfill his value,
Yeah.
you're banking on a Murray injury.
it's an expensive price to pay.
Same
to
thing with
bank on
Tevin
injury.
Coleman. I think this year you're banking on an injury ahead of him. Sure,
Yeah,
they
wow,
offer high
that's-
upside,
That's round 6 too.
but like, especially in a league like this where you've got to fill out 3 receivers, 2 running backs, and then 2 flex.
Yep.
So that's how many guys? Do the math for me. You're the numbers guy. That's 7.
Probably.
Wide receiver running backs to start every week, and one of them is now going to be occupied by a guy whose ceiling is
Yeah.
12 points.
Slated
you know?
for 6 to 8 touches. That's
It's
rough.
not great.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not liking it. It's
Not great.
purely a it's an upside pick. Hoping on the injury. Restaurant's fine. I'm gonna pick Amir Abdullah to bust. I'm gonna pick Jarvis Landry to bust based on the fact that they hate him there.
Yeah.
I love getting Doug where I got him, and I really do feel he'll be a back-end RB1 once he comes back.
I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that? Willie Snead goes ahead of Macklin, who goes ahead of Tyrell Williams, who goes ahead of Brandon Marshall. Any issues with those 4?
No, I'm okay with that bunch. They're all kind of in the same tier for me. It's kind of what you need. Marshall probably offers the most touchdown upside.
Yep.
Macklin and Snead to me are going to be the same type of receiver. Macklin might get more work if he comes into favor of Joe Flacco. He could end up leading the team in targets.
Yeah.
Snead, maybe for me, offers the higher floor just because he's tied to the New Orleans offense, and Drew Brees is Drew Brees.
Macklin's the guy.
Whereas-
Macklin's the guy last year who I would have spent 5 minutes raving and ranting about.
Yeah.
Because he's the number 1. The Ravens throw the most in the league.
Yeah.
He plays the flanker, which Steve Smith played.
Steve
blah
Smith,
blah blah
oh,
blah
yeah,
blah blah.
yeah,
I'm not asking him to be Steve Smith, who I believe was a straight up WR1.
Maybe I am too. Last year?
When he was last
When he was the
healthy.
guy?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Maybe he
Or was
a
it
back
3
end
years ago?
one. I'm not sure.
I
But
think,
anyway,
yeah, the point
what's
is-
your point? Yeah.
Wide receiver 2 for a price of a wide receiver 3. I think he outperforms his ADP.
I think he very easily could.
Fine.
Sure.
Okay, I don't like this turn by the classic, who again started the draft with David Johnson. He goes he goes Tevin Coleman, who we hate, due for touchdown regression, and Adrian Peterson, who, as much credit as we gave Adrian Peterson,
Yeah. So those are his 2 running. Because he has David Johnson, and then he's going as his number 2 running back, Coleman and
Yeah.
Peterson. So he's got to start. He's going to be starting one of them
And
at least to start the year. He also drafted McFadden in round 8, who could be
Okay.
very viable as an RB2.
that's fine.
So
I think this is another round where you say, holy hell, I wish I had my running backs, because the receivers that are going now are just,
because now you're being forced to take these
dripping
running
with
backs.
upside. Rashard Matthews finished as wide receiver 13 last year.
Yeah.
This is the reality that we lived in. He was just outside the top 12.
And Matthews, I talked to you about him. People have soured on him because they drafted Corey Davis, because they
Right.
brought in Eric Decker.
Too much hate.
But guess what? Both of those guys missed pretty much the entire preseason. They have no rapport with Mariota. They're not as familiar with the offense. Rashard Matthews is going to start the year for me as their
Yep.
number 1 receiver.
Yes. Has to.
At least the first
And he
4 weeks,
finish.
he's
strong.
going to be the guy.
So you look at if you just look at his second half of the season,
Yeah.
and then say, holy hell, he took a half a season and made himself the wide receiver 13.
Yeah. A lot of people just saw his touchdowns last year and they're like, oh, Sharp Matthews, who's this? He's
Right.
no way he's going to do this again. He's still the number one
Yeah.
for me.
I would not be surprised if he put up another 9 touchdowns this year.
I wouldn't be shocked. No, I wouldn't be shocked.
I'm not asking for it, but I mean it's fine.
But otherwise in this round, I like Garcon a lot.
Yeah, I really wanted him. That got sniped. I had to take Thielen as a result.
Yeah. I like the Thielen pick.
Let's
He was
just
a
say
big
this.
mover
Let's
to
just
the
say this.
slot, the most efficient receiver last year.
Forecast on Thielen.
Fully healthy. 80 catches.
Okay.
Hopefully approaches 1,000 yards.
7 touchdowns.
Touchdowns could
Five,
fluctuate.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. Comfortable as a wide
Because
receiver.
they like Rudolph in the red zone.
Yeah,
Bradford's never thrown that many touchdowns to
you're
begin
right.
with.
You're right. That's a good point. So, but a safe wide receiver 3, we can say.
I'm happy with Thielen as a wide receiver 3.
I think he's one of those where don't pick Diggs because you can pick Thielen.
He's been one of those guys who has been ascending as the preseason has gone on too, and then the move to the slot full time just kind of solidifies his floor for sure.
Okay. Rudolph goes around 7, where it shows you the nasty drop off at tight end. Because I'm not as high as him as he was last year, but whatever.
Yeah.
Russell goes, worst pick of the round goes to Cam Newton.
Newton.
That's just
Trash.
disgusting. You
Yeah.
get Deshaun Jackson, who's going to win you some weeks, and he's going to be absent some weeks.
Yep.
But that's fine in round 7.
It's fine.
Mariota goes. Decker goes. Coleman goes. Corey Coleman, very early for Coleman. Not very, but
Yeah. People are a lot higher on him now, though.
Yeah.
Kaiser's been announced the starting quarterback.
Right.
They've shown a connection to preseason. Interesting bit of news that I read about Coleman, though. Somebody was quoted saying, if Gordon were to be Josh Gordon, I'm talking about.
Yes.
Apparently, the Browns still own the rights to him, and if he were to be reinstated somehow, that they would move Coleman to the slot and Gordon would play on the outside. So for whatever reason, it doesn't sound like they think that highly of Coleman.
Right.
He's not a big-bodied guy. He's like a 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, he's a
smaller
bit
stature.
smaller than I figured, actually, for a first-round pick.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they love him. I'm not sure if Hugh Jackson loves him. If I had to bet on him or Britt, I'm betting on Britt.
Okay. That was the decision I made all throughout this drafting season. That's an interesting one that'll play
But
out.
I see the hype for Coleman.
Yes.
You know?
It's the upside is there. John Brown goes in round 8. Price has skyrocketed in recent weeks. I'm
Yeah.
behind him. I've got multiple shares. I'll leave it at that.
He's healthy. He's great.
You get Paul Perkins round 8, which is, a better value than some of the running backs that were going. Now,
I think I was happy to have him. It's an ugly. It's one of
It
those
is
guys
ugly.
you're never like excited about taking. It's like taking Gore, who went a few
Right.
picks later.
Right.
You're never like, oh, yes, I got Gore. Or
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
Perkins.
yeah.
No, you're like, ew.
yeah.
I'm clicking this button and
Yeah.
I'm gonna go wash my hands.
And that's your RB2?
No, he was my RB4. Brother.
Wow. Holy. Right, of course, because you had finished.
Yeah, because I think Powell is actually my 3.
Pow!
I had because Montgomery is my 2.
Gotcha.
So yeah, Perkins I think just fell too far for a guy who could potentially be, a 15-touch dude for a top 12 maybe scoring offense.
Sure.
I think he has value there.
Okay. And I'm fine with that. Walker goes, Eifert goes. I'm souring on Eifert because he's injured again. It's really pissing me off.
Yeah, it's bad.
The inevitable Gore pick goes. I took Chris Hogan. I think this was I don't know. Is it pricey? Is it a reach? Yeah. Even around 8?
Yeah. Because I'll tell you what.
I think this motherfucker is popping off this year.
I mean, he very well could. We talked about it. We touched on it before. Who's going to be the beneficiary of the Edelman injury? I think it could be anybody every week. I don't think Hogan is a good enough talent to demand that he gets the leftover targets. He's good. Yeah, he's efficient. You're gonna give me some stat about any catches.
I'm not even gonna give you a stat.
balls, blah, blah, blah.
I'm gonna give you a bold prediction.
Okay.
Chris Hogan finishes better than Brandon Cooks this year.
Okay. Everybody remember that one.
You heard it first.
Go
I got
ahead.
nothing on the line. I got no skin in the game on that one, but you heard it first. I'll leave it at that.
That's- Okay.
Cousins goes, Ertz goes. Who you buy the 90 catches prediction this year?
I like Ertz.
I like Ertz because the next pick is Martellus Bennett,
Yeah.
which I don't like.
That's gross.
And maybe I'll probably watch this back and regret that.
I mean,
'cause
you're
he'll
really
probably score
hoping with
9
Bennett.
touchdowns.
You're really hoping that Rodgers
Yeah.
starts to use his tight end, which he never does,
He
even when he
made-
had good ones with
he
Michael
made
Finley.
Richard
and-
Rodgers like good one year, like a top
No,
12.
he wasn't. Nope.
Okay,
Don't
thank
even
you.
lie to yourself.
Okay.
Don't even lie to
I'm
yourself.
fine.
Bennett, he's always been a good tight end, but everybody think, oh, he's in Green Bay now. He's gonna get a lot of touchdowns. Rodgers doesn't throw to his tight end
Okay.
with enough volume to support that.
That's fine. McFadden goes to the Classic. Wallace goes to the Classic. Wallace has been just a consistent top 30 player, so you can't hit him in there.
Yeah.
Ted Ginn goes, maybe a little early, but honestly it's round 9, so there is no early.
Honestly, I
anymore.
really like Ted Ginn.
I
man.
think a lot of people like him, and this is one guy who I'm going to stay off of, but I
he's the
could see
only
myself
guy in that
regretting it.
offense now
Yeah.
that can do what Brandon Cooks did for them, and that's go over the top, stretch the field.
Yeah,
You can give it to him on an end around,
yeah.
and guess what? If he's out there for the majority of snaps on all of that, I mean, they run 3 wide just as much as anybody else in the league.
Sure.
If he approaches 100 targets,
Okay. He could what? Get
60, 65 catches?
Yeah, for 1,000 yards. And
nah, I wouldn't say 1,000. That
Okay,
might be very aggressive.
so
I would
let's
say like
say-
800 might be his ceiling.
But 7
But you're going to
touchdowns,
get maybe 5 weeks out of the
where
year
you win.
where he'll
Great
pop off.
best ball guy. We don't
Yeah.
play best ball around here, but
Yeah, and he's going to give you that little 40-yard touchdown bonus that we
so
play
he's
with.
basically Devery Henderson 5 years later,
Yeah, the year Devery Henderson was like really good.
popping off.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the thing is, I like Marvin Jones.
I like Marvin Jones
Hunter
here.
Henry there. I even like Dante Moncrief. I obviously love my Kenny Britt there. Like,
Yeah.
I just thought you could have let Ginn go another round.
You might have been able to get him in a round later, sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
LeGarry Blunt goes, which I think is just terrible because I think Thomas Rawls has more upside at the pick immediately after.
Yeah.
Jordan Matthews goes. Is that high for you? Fearless forecast on Matthews?
Is it high for me? I mean, I took him, so I hope it's not high for me.
Oh,
No, I don't think so, because at this point in the draft, there's not many potential wide receiver ones left on the board. Guys that can get 100, 110, 120
You're right.
targets.
so this is about target share.
This is about volume for me. Matthews,
They might be ugly, but it's targets.
It's another pick where you're not like you're not getting hard for
This
for
ain't
clicking on his name,
Marquise Goodwin,
but no.
which we'll talk about in
Not
episode
Marquise
2.
Goodwin.
Okay. Eddie Lacy goes above Duke Johnson, which I hate.
Uh-huh.
So terrible pick by Imtaz. Nice job by Garrett to get Duke and Eric Ebron, which I think I haven't talked about him at all. Not been on my draft boards, not on any of my teams, but I think Eric
Yeah.
Ebron could have a nice year.
Mhm.
He gets the James White Imtaz, that is,
Yeah.
ahead of Rexon Burkhead.
Yeah.
And I think this Rex guy, I needed one share of him. I got him tonight. I like it.
He could be what
I think
what
this
people are hoping
guy,
Mike Gillislee
yeah,
might be.
I think this guy has a 50-50 chance legit to be what
Yeah.
people are paying Mike Gillislee for. And around 10, it's
Well, because the thing
what a
is
win.
too, I don't mind the pick either because I think we'll find out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Hopefully, at
Yeah.
least what the roles will be, at least the power back role,
and you could just drop him.
and then you drop him.
Right,
It's round 10.
it's right.
I don't want to take a guy like Samaj Perine,
Correct.
who I'm going to have to hold on to
Yeah.
for 6 weeks
To
until
see if
Rob
he
Kelly really shits
takes
the
over.
bed,
Yeah.
and then, Perine's going to get half the work now.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be week 10 when he finally takes over.
Yeah,
And then you're wasting a bench spot the whole time. At least with Burkett, I'd know right away.
yeah. No, I love that right there. I think you did snipe me. I ended up taking Jaquiz just for the three weeks. Wrap
Yeah.
up that Bucks.
I also think Riddick back here.
Yeah, you like
is
that.
a huge steal, man.
I know you like that.
He's finished as an RB2 the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, in round 10, it's RB2.
I mean, even Jonathan Stewart could end up being a huge steal here. And quietly, Darren Sproles also could be the most valuable running back in Philly. And could garner the most total touches out there,
He's
too.
had some interesting seasons in Philly. Nothing that's blown us away. This could easily be his most productive
He
season
can
in
get 50,
Philly.
60 catches,
Yeah.
and for 100 carries, that's 160, 150 touches for still an explosive guy.
Yeah.
Maybe a half dozen touchdowns. That's
Yep.
going to give you value.
Yeah. No, I like that, and I like it better than CJ Precise, who
Precise
has not
just
been
can't
precise.
stay on the field.
Can't stay on the field.
Just unfortunate because he's probably the most talented back in Seattle, but
Right.
It's hard to have any kind of faith in him.
Jameson or Zay Jones goes to CJ, who also takes Jameson Winston.
Yeah.
First defense off the board goes in round 11. Ew, but it's Denver.
Yeah.
Prescott gets taken from me because I thought it was a tier after that. I was forced to take Philip Rivers, although you argue, and probably
I thought you
rightfully
should have
so.
taken Luck.
You think I should take him Luck?
Yeah.
I followed
'Cause
Scott Pianowski, who said, don't draft him.
Yeah. But I mean, at this point, it's
I
round
know.
11,
You're right. I really should
and
have.
we have an IR spot, right?
Yeah.
So like
Could've
you could
thrown
put
him right-
Luck on the IR spot.
So I blew that.
Yeah.
You're right. I did blow, and you could argue that.
I mean, I was ready to take Luck there. if
The
you- if you
Rocket,
felt it.
the Red Rocket might even be a better pick, which you got like last round or
I
something.
think I
like
took
that.
Carr in the last round.
I am hoping that Phil
Andy
Rivers.
Dalton is still probably
Phil
free
Rivers
agent.
is such a sure thing for 30 touchdowns. It's just I can't have the 21 interceptions again
Yeah.
because then he returns the back end QB1.
Right.
Whatever. I don't think it's gonna kill him. But you're right. I could have
No.
taken Luck, and I could
But
have
I don't think Rivers is going to be your quarterback all year either.
Really?
No. Luck has the potential to be your quarterback all year.
Okay. Well, that hurts.
When Rivers goes to Denver,
Yeah.
you're telling me you're going to, and you got a couple guys on bye, you're dropping his ass.
Yeah, you're right. Those 2 games in Denver are gonna hurt.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Even the KC games, man, they have good pass defense. You
Okay.
didn't think that one through.
I did not think that one through. So I blew that round. It's the same round, though, that I'm going to skip right over Corey Davis because I don't want to talk about him. Kobe Fleener.
Yeah.
Do you think he quietly... literally no one said a word about this guy. Do you think he quietly has some sort of revival year?
He could. He could return tight end 1 value if he catches touchdowns this year.
Okay.
I don't think he'll have enough volume to be supported by receptions and yardage.
Yeah.
If he gets involved in the red zone, that's where you'll see him become valuable. Because realistically, he has to get Michael Thomas is the number 1. Snead will probably be the number 2. Ginnon, we already talked about, is going to get his looks. And then they throw to the running backs more than anybody else in the league. Running backs have had over 100 targets in that offense last year.
Yeah.
So how many are really left for Fleener after that? 80, 70, 80?
Yeah.
He's really got to make the most out of those and get in the end zone.
Okay.
Okay.
I think, I agree. I just, as